Right, JP, welcome, and this is our first call. I see that you've made your first sale, something like 4,499 rands commission. That is absolutely fabulous. The purpose, what I think we should do is maybe I'm going to ask you to give me a quick introduction to who you are and why on earth did you start on this specific thing. My commitment to you is to help you to get at least 1,000% growth on that 4,499% rands that you've got in terms of 1,000% growth. You're also a method student, and for that reason, I'm going to do separate calls where I want to eliminate the risk or bring the risk down as low as possible. But that's going to be for the method students. I'm not going to share. Those people have paid a lot of money for this. I don't want to share that kind of information everywhere. So let's start. Why on earth did you start with this affiliate marketing story? Why is it that you've done the course and that you started with affiliate marketing specifically? Give us a little bit of background, married and stuff like that.
Okay, so thanks, Hannes. So yeah, my name is JP Terblanche. I'm 32 years old now, and I've been a student of the Wealth Creators University for the past 5 years. And basically everything started with this whole lockdown story. The president announced that we, all had to stay home. And I remember, there was a lot of thoughts going through my mind because through the years I started a property portfolio on the side, and immediately this property portfolio was at risk. And I remember that, at that stage on social media, there was a lot of negative things going around. And because I've been a student for the last 5 years, you develop a certain, let's say, a certain mindset to deal with things like this. And I remember that I had a choice. I can either be negative or I can be positive. And that's when I went to my cupboard and I found a book that I bought, The Formula for Riches. I bought it from you, Hannes, a couple of years ago. And I've already read this book, but I thought that maybe, let's redo this book. And I started reading through the book and finished the book. And at the end of the book, I realized that, the world's busy changing. And you either need to adapt or die. You need to move with the trend. And if I could start a property portfolio based on the for riches and the method and the way, I said, but maybe I should start something extra that can supplement this power goal or this property portfolio that I have. And I remember a couple of days later, I saw a video on Facebook with Laura, where she basically said that she's going to start an online course on how to start an online business. And when I saw that video, I immediately knew that this is the thing that I have to do. I knew I had to get online for a while, but when I saw that video and I read the book, I said, but this is the time. This is something that I have to do. And yes, I bought the course and I did the From Startup to Income course. I think it took me about 2 weeks to complete. And yeah, then one morning, I think it was 3 o'clock, I woke up and I just had this feeling inside me that said, you need to start taking action now. Go for this online business thing and, just give it everything that you have. And basically that whole day I created a little ad and yes, from there it started.
That is brilliant. That is, first of all, to be able to take action. And that is one of the main things that I find with most people. And maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that. I'm going to tell you now what I see with people. We've got these goals. Let me bring it back to the power goal first before I'm going to carry on. What's your power goal and how did this fit into your power goal? In other words, is it a separate power goal? Does it supplement your current power goal?
Yes, so I started with my power goal about 3.5 years ago, and basically my power goal is to reach financial freedom. And to reach financial freedom, I need to have a certain amount of passive income. And I started in 2017 with this whole, let's call it a vehicle, with my property. So the properties drove this power goal of mine. So my power goal, basically, in short, is to make a passive income of 220,000 rand per month by the end of 2021, by December 2021. So that's my power goal. And the reason why I started the online business is to supplement my power goal, because I could see with this whole COVID Corona story that there's a new risk for me to achieve my target for this specific year with my properties, because I'm not sure if my tenants are going to move out, what percentage of them will pay the rent, how many tenants might not be able to afford the rent. So I started the online business as a separate, let's call it a smaller goal, but this smaller goal will supplement my bigger goal, and to make sure that I continue to get the results that I need to get to the 220,000 rand per month.
Okay, it's really important because what I try to establish is, why is it that some people start taking action and other people do not take the action? Because I think you've said that you woke up like 3 o'clock in the morning and you decided, okay, now that is that. I'm going to start doing it. The majority of people, they've got this dream, they've got this desire, but for some crazy reason, they don't start taking action. And what I wanted to know from you is, what was that motivation? What is your why? Why did you take action whilst most people do not take action?
Okay. I think, yeah, your why needs to be very important. And, your why is that thing inside you that gives you the energy and, the things that you need to do to get to where you want to be. And, my why is I want financial freedom and time freedom. And, I stay in Cape Town, and we spend on average about 3 hours a day in traffic, so I want to be financially free, because I want to take my wife on holidays and vacations and without worrying about money. And, we just want time freedom. I want to spend time with her, with my friends, when I want, where I want, for as long as I want. So I think the main thing is, my why is I want to be free. I don't want to work for a boss or have to sit in traffic to go to work. And, I just want to be free. That's my why.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a weird question, because from what I understand from my students, from most of them, is that they actually want the same thing that you want. In other words, they don't want to necessarily work for a boss or work certain hours or be boss around and do stuff that they don't want. They want to spend time with their families. They don't want to sit in traffic. So basically, what you're saying. Um, why do you think you took action by doing it and do something about it, whilst most people don't do anything about it? It's really important, because in the process, I think that we can help a lot of other people. If we're not aware of why we're not taking action and other people take action, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the difference between doing something and not doing. And it's in doing that we can start the learning process, which I can see that you are committed to do that. Just your perspective on this issue.
Well, I think what makes me different, or what separates me from the rest of the people is, it all goes back to your power goal. There's a certain way how you need to, let's say, morph or create this power goal, because if your goal is not strong enough, or it's not desirable enough, or it's too easy, it's not difficult enough. There's a whole process, and I think, if I can be honest, is that I've done this course or this book on power goals, and my power goal is basically my plan. So if my plan, I've got a solid plan in place, and it's all because I went and I learned how to, create a power goal. Does that make sense? I think that's
absolutely makes sense, and I'm glad that you brought this up. Because personally, I believe that is the main reason why people. There are days that we do not feel like doing stuff. There's what we call the resistors, and it's the resistors that keeps us from doing it. What our friends are going, what are they going to say, or what the society is going to say, or what if I stumble, or what if I make mistake, or what if I'm not good enough, or what if it doesn't turn out. But there's something that you took, action that you took, that most people, that resistor, that barrier is so high for the average person, because for some crazy reason it looks and it seems to me that my students think that it's these supernatural people that will achieve a success. And I'm trying to tell him that's not the case. And this is the reason, because I believe that 95% of our success is determined by the mental game and not by necessarily the techniques and the strategies and that we follow in the systems. Just your take on that.
Well, honestly, I've got 2 points on that. Point number one is I'm not a superhuman, or I'm the average Joe. I'm 32 years old. I'm married. I still work a full-time job, and I started my properties on the side, and now I'm doing this online business. So it's a third income that I started, and I don't have a lot of experience in Facebook marketing or online businesses, but I mean, if I can do it, and with the properties as well, at a certain point, I didn't have a lot of experience, but I've invested in myself and I educated myself, and then I gained the skills to build the property portfolio. So on that take, anyone can do it. I mean, I'm a perfect example of the average, average Joe out there. And then the second point I would like to raise is, once you have this power goal, a big motivator for me to go on or to take action is, once you started with this power goal and you start tracking your results and you see that you've reached your small little target, then your belief system changes, your mindset changes, because in the beginning it seems like it's impossible to reach. But as you go, you hit that small little target, small little goalposts, you start to become more motivated, and it's like let's call it petrol on the fire. And I think this is also a reason, because I've been tracking my property portfolio, my power goal, for the last 3.5 years, and I immediately saw with this corona thing that there's a new risk that I might not get to my goal for this year or reach my milestone for this year. And I think that's a big part that fueled me to start looking at something different and to get up at 3 a.m. and take action. Because if I don't take action, I lose everything that I've built up for the last 3.5 years. And my why, I want to be financially free, and I have time freedom, and I want to give my wife everything that, I want to give her a life of abundance and without stress and everything. And I can maybe, just to add on that, because of my property portfolio, my wife was in a position to leave her job last year, December. And she's a teacher, she was a teacher, and that put a lot of stress on her, and I could see that. And luckily, because I took action a couple of years ago, we were in a position where she could stop working.
It's funny. I think my main motivation is also my wife. I made a lot of promises. I was down and out when I met Tanya, and I made a lot of promises. And afterwards, actually, a couple of years later, she said to me that she never thought that I would be able to do it, but she loved me, and she thought, humor this guy, these goals will never materialize. But one of her goals was also to be able to be a full-time mom. And luckily we achieved that also at a very relative young age. Right. JP, I think what we, if you game for this, I think let's use this playlist, this channel, and let's add an incredible amount of value to other people in the same process. Will you be game for that?
Certainly, definitely.
Okay, now we are mentioning, at the moment, I think the people that's going to listen to us will be some of my students and maybe some of your friends, but hopefully they can refer other people, and then eventually, who knows who's going to listen and benefit from this. So when we refer to stuff, I'm going to put little links below this, let's call it recording, so that people can click on that and get it. Because one of the things that we've mentioned several times is this formula for riches. Maybe people do not have the formula. So I'm going to put in a link where they can go and download the formula to start off with. That's going to be for free. Right. One of the things that I think that is extremely important that you've mentioned, that is actually part of the formula, is the result part. In other words, that's the reason why you're tracking your progress on a month-to-month basis. And I've seen actually what you've done in terms of the Excel spreadsheets on your property portfolio. Right. Now, because of that, you were immediately in a position where you could see, but if I'm going to take a hiccup here, I won't be able to get to my power goal. And it's simply because of the results. So if the results is positive, you move on to the next one. I think we can also invite them perhaps to a web class that I've done, or that, well, I've done several of these web classes in terms of a little bit more information about the formula for riches. So when we publish this, we'll give the link. There's another thing that I think that you've mentioned, and that is the importance of a power goal. Now, the power goal, I believe the ebook, and again, I'm going to give a link to the ebook that's going to be for free. But there's something that I just want to get your inputs in it. In the power goal, we've got the power goal method, and the method is the quantum awakening and the point game and stuff. Would you suggest, I think it's vital and crucial that people upgrade, and I'm not going to charge them arm and a leg for that, because I believe because it's the mindset that we need to work on, that quantum awakening can benefit them. Your take on that?
No, absolutely, Hannes. Your education or your competency, let's call it this brain between your ears. If you don't feed your brain with the right information, and you don't invest in yourself and get the education, nothing's going to happen. I see a lot of my friends also, they go and buy, for example, a property, and they spend, let's call it 100,000 Rand on a deposit and transfer duties and everything, but they don't spend 10 or 20,000 Rand to educate themselves on the specific topic, whether it's property, online business, farming, anything. I don't understand why people do that. So my take on this, by far, before you do anything, you need to invest in yourself and gain the competency in order to start your property portfolio or start your online business or whatever investment that you have.
Okay, and yeah, absolutely, I see it as well. And then there's another problem that I see that people don't get, maybe because of let's call it the belief system, is a lot of people do a course, but then they don't implement what they've learned during the course, which I think is also a huge drawback. And a funny thing that I saw on Facebook when I saw this, I went to your Facebook, and I saw that you've actually taken the formula for riches, and I know that you've done it before, and you started summarizing it again. Before you started with this, and I have to compliment you, and I hope that other people can take from this and start doing that, because I think it's serious, because the most important thing that we've got, JP, as far as I'm concerned, is time. And that was the reason why I wanted to become financially free. I retired at 37, so I'm now 62. So for 25 years, I can literally do that you still want to do, where I can do what I want, when I want, where I want, with whom I want, how I want, without worrying about money. And if we can help other people in the process, I think that is going to be absolutely great. So another thing that I think that I am going to add before I'm going to start giving you a tip or two is maybe we can use this each and every time that we talk. Maybe I can help you, and maybe I can help others. But I see that people don't get this money-making process. So the first skill that I believe that you must have before you do anything is make sure that you get high income skills. Everyone talks about passive income. I think passive income is totally overrated. And there's a sequence. Remember, to become successful, we need to get the right information in the right order for the level of the game that we're at, and then we have to do it. And everyone climbs on this bandwagon of passive income, but they did not put in the hard yards first in order to make sure that if that thing does not work out, that, then the house of cards come tumbling in. So the first thing that is absolutely necessary, as far as I'm concerned, is to start building high income skills. And this course that you've done is one of the ways. You don't need nowadays to become an engineer and a medical doctor and a architect and anything like that. You can literally cram it, and I'm going to ask you a question around that. But how long did it take you to go through the from startup to income course in order to have the skills so that you could start and getting your first, what was it, 4,500 something odd rands?
Yeah, Hannes, I think it took me about 2 weeks to complete the course. And then I think within the next 2 weeks or week, I'm not sure, I think it's 2 weeks, I made my first 4,500. So let's take away the 2 weeks that I spent on the course, because before I didn't have the competency. But the day I finished with that from startup to income course, I had some, I had knowledge. And I think it took me 2 weeks before I made my first 4,500. So to answer the question, it took me 2 weeks to make 4,500 rand.
Yeah, and how long does it take you to get a degree before you start getting that kind of income?
No, it takes years. And I actually did this calculation on one of my properties. And, 3.5 years ago when I started with my first property, I think that property only made me 4,300 Rand for the entire year. And on the online business side, I made 4,500 Rand within 2 weeks. And, it goes deeper, because with a property, I had to pay a deposit. I had to pay transfer and bond registrations, and I had to pay renovation costs. And then I had to manage this property basically for a full year just to make 4,300 Rand. Now, I really like property, and I like what it can do for me. And property is definitely the long-term game for me. But I found out with the online business is that you can literally start immediately, depending on your skills, to start generating that income. And I'll just build that property or that online portfolio, and that will supplement my property portfolio, and the snowball starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It is nowadays with the internet possible to learn high income skills very, very quickly. And
yes.
I'm glad that I'm talking to you. The second part, normally, and this is not for everyone, once you start building the skill, then you need to transfer that skill literally into, let's call it a system, a money-making system. We call it a business. In other words, you take the skill, you start generating the income, that is the confidence, and then you use that confidence in order to start getting a system that can help you in order to supplement your high income skill that you've got. And you can do a combination where that high income skill like you're doing at the moment, where that high income skill and the business is actually one and the same thing, right? And then, and only then, do you actually go to the property, because the property, you have to have a surplus. You need to get maybe a deposit in the process. And the Wealth Creators Method students will know that there's a very, very nice sequence that we can follow in order to minimize the risk and mitigate that risk. And at the same time, bring the risk down, but that explodes the growth. So the takeaway that I want to add today is make sure that people, that you focus on getting high income skills, a skill that can give you the confidence. Something that I do not mention very often, and that I'd like to mention to you and to the rest of the people that may one day listen to this, is that the way that I see it, financial freedom to me goes a lot deeper than the financial side, right? Because they can literally take my property away. The government here in South Africa, there's a chance with this expropriation of land without compensation that something like this may happen. If I look at what the government is busy doing with let's call it the businesses, I don't think they've got a clue what they are really doing. So they can take that away. But the skills that you have in order to be able to do that gives you a type of a confidence within yourself. And that confidence no one can take away. And that confidence means that I can do and you can do in South Africa that, you can do it in the United States, you can do it in Australia, you can do it in New Zealand, you can do it in Panama, you can do it in Portugal, you can do it on a boat, you can do it while you fly. And that is something that we do not talk. So financial freedom, if all your money is in let's call it investment, and they seize that, then most people are going to, I can almost say, lose their lives. But if you've got the skills, then you've got the confidence to create that freedom at any stage. So the process is make sure that you first of all get the skill. See if not everyone is going to go into a business and likes business, although I think affiliate marketing is the greatest business. It's weird because I only started in this after all these years. I knew about that, but I did not pay attention until the Corona story. Right. And then once you start generating the income, now you want to have that income to work for you. And this is where you go to property and cryptos and, other types of investments. Right. What I want from you, and maybe if someone listened to this and they want to make comments, and I'd like you to react on that, they can do it. What I want to do from you, the first thing is, have you opened a fan page? In other words, a business page on Facebook?
Yes, I recently opened a business page. I think I have like 7 likes or something.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, because unless you've got a business page, you can't start with advertisements. You're going to find with Facebook that the majority of people think that they're going to use Facebook in order to explode their business. And unfortunately, that is not going to happen. In your case, you were lucky, simply because at least a friend. How did you make that first sale? Was it a friend or how did it happen?
Yeah, so it was a friend of mine. He actually has been following me, or been talking to me for the last couple of years, and he was checking out what I'm doing with property. And he basically contacted me and said, "But okay, he also wants to start. Where does he need to start?" And I showed him to the property pro mentoring program, and he bought the course.
Okay, fabulous. In other words, it's almost like a personal referral, which is brilliant. But if you want to scale, you need to add another skill, and that skill is to be able to do copywriting, and copywriting in terms of ads, but also copywriting in terms of sales letters or video sales letters and stuff like that. Right. So that's another skill that you need to add. And then you need to master Facebook in a certain way in order to start and to place the ad in a cost-effective way. Because if you can find a way, and this is what I want you to start learning now, is where you can put in a 10 rand into a machine, and that machine pumps out 30 rand as an example, or 20 rand, or 500 rand. That is where the magic is going to happen. And the only way that I know to do that is through advertisement. And the majority of people think immediately, yeah, but I'm spending money. That is one of the best investments because in my case, for every rand that we put into marketing, and we can measure this, we can get either anything from 100 to up to 1,000% back. So I want you to open that to start warming up. So at this stage, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. All you have to do is to start small, right? Feel your way, because that's where you're going to get the maximum experience. Try other stuff, and then don't spend more than about 500 rand. And by that time, I'll come back to you and see how it goes, and if there's anything else that I can do. In the meantime, if you get stuck and you need my help, we'll do the recording, of course. Then please do feel free to contact. If anyone listened to this, make comments, tell us what you think about this, and then we'll take it from there. Will that be okay with you, JP?
100%, Hannes. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to add at this point in time?
No. While you were talking about the money-making machine, it's crazy. I spoke to my wife last night and I said that, we can literally start an online business on this phone with our skills and with this phone. And we can take this anywhere in the world as long as we have the skills. And you said this, you mentioned this before, and that's the power of technology today. And to me, that's priceless.
That is priceless, and because that is going to give you that the freedom of choice. You can sit in your car and you can do business if you want to do business, and you can switch it off and you can come back to it at a later stage, because everything. I see this digital age almost as I can say, a digital tattoo, where you can come back in a week's time, it's still be there. It's incredible how you can, and then you can just take it up from there on. And I would love people, and that's the reason I personally did Lara's course. And because of that, I decided that I'm going to start a new business in a new industry, simply because I want to challenge myself and see. And I believe that you're never too old to learn. And I was so impressed with that course. And maybe I'm going to give a link to that course if someone may be interested in it, so that they can go and check it out. I think you've already made a lot more than what you've actually paid for the course. And by the way, something else that I see that people, they think when you pay for a course, that's investment. I don't see it as an investment at all. I see it as a personal investment, but I don't think that you can place a value and say, yeah, but I've invested like $1,000 or $10,000 or $10,000 by doing a course, because that course, it's like a university degree. You pay for the university degree, but when you go and get to the bank to get the interest, they don't say, but because you've got a degree, we're going to give you 10% more, or we're going to include all the costs that you've paid to become a doctor, and that is how your investment is going to grow. So, but it's basically resistors that keep people from investing in themselves. And it's right, JP. These cell phones are, I mean, that's all that you need in order to start anywhere in the world. Even when someone else is working, you may be asleep and you are pocketing the money on condition that you add value. That's the name of the game.
Definitely, and Hannes, I want to add on that. For me, I'm using myself now as a personal reference. I don't have a website. I don't have a web or a company email. I don't have a product. I invested in myself. I got the skills, and I used the tools that was made available to me to make this sale. So I think a lot of people out there think that you have to have your own product, or you need to create your own product. And you just mentioned that you need to add value. If you can find a product that already, like the Wealth Creators affiliate system, there's already so much value attached to that product. And my job basically is now with the online business is just to make sure I present that product to people that have similar problems, or a problem that the product can resolve. And I think with this Corona or COVID thing, there's a lot of people's going to start moving to online businesses, because it gives them the freedom to do what they want, where they want, and it's scalable. If you're a doctor, you can only see X amount of clients per day, where with online, you can scale it, and literally millions of people across the world can get access to your product. And that's powerful for me.
Okay. So thank you for that, JP. Your assignment, if I can call it assignment, is start warming up your Facebook account. Don't spend too much money per day. Budget, let's make it around 200 Rand maximum per day. Don't go overboard at all. And then by the time that you've spent 500, if you have got other marketing strategies, try all of them. Use Facebook to the best of your ability. Splash it with your friends and so forth, and let's see what happens. And then by the time that you're close to 500, I'll talk to you again to look at a little bit of stats, and also to give you pointers so that we can make sure that we're going to get to the 1,000%. As I've said, with the method students, at the moment you're standing actually with the infinite return. infinite return. And maybe next time remind me about this. I can explain the difference between what is infinite explosive and a compounded growth, and the sequencing that one needs to have in order to make this a viable a business. Right. So I'll see you then whenever you're ready.
Perfect, Hannes. Thank you so much.
Okay. See you. Cheers. Bye.